I'm Bethany Anderson of Bethany Heals, and if life's been lifing lately, then you found me just in time. This is a pause, a permission slip to just be. And before we begin, let me remind you, your healing isn't on a timeline. Around here, we don't hustle our healing, we honor it. Trust that your intuition brought you here for a reason. So let's drop into our next archive episode. Hello, loves, and welcome to archive episode number 12. My goodness, what a journey it's been so far. I have just been so honored to be able to have a platform to share my life experiences with you, to have some really special guests come on the show, which there is so many more amazing baddie women coming on the show. I can't even believe it. One of them is coming on next week, and I am so excited for this conversation because I know it's going to be life-changing for all of us. But with that being said, after next week's episode, your girl's going to take a little pause. Recording every week can be a lot. And I just want to take a moment to recalibrate and reset before we get to the end of the year hubbub. So I will absolutely be back in December after next week's episode. I'm just going to take a couple weeks to enjoy my home and my city and my space, and I can't wait to pick up for season 2. In the meantime, I'm not just going to leave you hanging. So I wanted to take a moment to check in with all of us because I know that holiday season is right around the corner. And with that can come a lot of overwhelming energy, feeling stressed, of navigating some awkward conversations with the family members and with loved ones. And there are a couple practices that I actually wanted to show you and to give to you to take with you into the holiday season so you can step into these different experiences and scenarios feeling more grounded, more rooted, more connected and empowered to yourself. And so you're not having to take on everyone else's energy throughout the holiday season. And I especially wanted to bring this up because I know there's a lot of navigating challenging conversations coming up throughout this year, right? It's been really difficult for, at least I'll speak for myself, and even when I work with my clients, to be able to express yourself from a neutral space where we're not getting so activated and charged up when we're trying to say what it is that we need or how we feel. You know, ultimately, I think we all just want to be heard, and not all of us will get that luxury to be heard, but we can still be able to show up for ourselves in a way that feels true to us without it creating so much tension or stress or anxiety within ourselves, right? You know, it makes me think about when I'm working with clients that are having really tough situations or challenges with a partner or with a family member. And, you know, I've been doing this work since 2016. I absolutely love working on relationships and friendships and business partnerships and looking into the energy of that because it gives us so much information. So when I'm looking at the energy for a client with whoever they're having this issue with, I'm looking at how their energies interact with each other. I look at the other individual. I look at my client. I see how they intermingle or maybe repel each other. And that's just the foundation. That's just the beginning. And then we really dig deep into why the other person is feeling the way they are and why my client is maybe feeling the way that they are, that they're not fully expressing to the other person. It's so wild to think that I can see all of this, right? Like reading energy. It's so interesting to me and I love it because I don't know who the other person is. I don't know I don't know anything about them. All I'm doing is just tuning in from a neutral space and sharing what comes up. And what's really helpful when we are able to get information like this is because they're able to leave a session with me and go have the conversation, but more from a space of understanding the other person more, right? How they were truly feeling and what they wanted to be heard about. And I would say most of the time, those conversations end up moving so much more smoother because of having this information. And it's not even about digging into another person's space. I morally could never. That's just weird. And I don't, I've just heard some horror stories about that with psychics and healers, like invading people's space. And I'm just like, for why? What? That is way out of our scope of what we should be doing. Anyways, that's a whole other tangent. But really, it's for the best and supportive way to support my client and for them to be able to navigate the challenge that you're facing with another in a way that's going to support both of them, right? Or whatever that's supposed to look like. And so when I'm working with these clients, when they're navigating challenges with others, and we're looking at this energy, there's something really beautiful that we can do. And we can actually ground and heal the resistance and the frustration and the anger that's coming up so we can see what's really underneath, right? These are all surface level emotions that are trying to share or show something else. And when we ground out these initial cloudy, foggy, cluttered energies, a lot of the times there's shame behind it, or regret, or disappointment, or fear of loss, fear of, change that can come from having this conversation. And after taking time to really clear out these energies, I love to teach my clients this very specific tool. And this is something that I use in my life probably every single day. So I'm going to tell you what it is, because it's honestly such a game changer. So let's say you've grounded. You already know I have a bunch of free meditations on my website. The first one literally says grounding meditation. Please do it. Please use those. That is why they are there. So after you've grounded, right, you're settled in your space, you've cleared out some funky stuff that's not serving you. Here's what you do. When you're in that intuitive meditative space, which you'll hear when you try the grounding meditation, I'll link it in the show notes. So when you go down to the show notes, you'll understand what I'm talking about when you try this. So when you've grounded your space, you're in the sanctuary space. It's this beautiful intuitive space right in the center of your head. I love to use this tool called a protection rose. So a protection rose, it's just another tool that we use in intuitive healing. But basically all you're doing is you're just imagining a rose right out in front of you. And even if you can't see it visually, that's fine. Pretend it's there just with your intention. Energy responds. You can, feel that it's there. You just know that it's there, sense that it's there, however it shows up for you. And so all you have to do is just imagine this rose right out in front of you. And I love to imagine it sitting about arm's length out in front of me. And I just imagine it's a rose of my own energy. Like I'll write Bethany in the rose, or I'll just tell it, you're Bethany, you're a Bethany rose. And I'll notice all the cool little colors that start to show up in the petals of the rose. Like this is my energy. So just imagine a rose out in front of you, your rose with your energy, and just leave it there. That's literally it. This protection rose, here's what it's doing. You're like, what do you mean? How is this working? I need the details. I got you. So this rose, this protection tool, when we are interacting with others, when we're having conversations with others, when other people are just thinking about us, their energy is thrown at us and it sticks to our space. And that is the feeling that you get when you're feeling anxious, or if you're, for example, having like a great day and then out of nowhere you just get super irritable and angry and you're like, whoa, like nothing happened to me. What is going on? You just picked up somebody else's energy in your space. So anything that feels foreign like that, it's just not yours. That's why we ground. That's why we ground it out first. We clear out our space. But what's great with this protection rose is that any energy that's directed at you goes into the rose instead of into your space. Let me say that again. This protection rose, any energy that's directed at you, it'll be absorbed into that rose instead of into your space. And it just grounds out, clears out. So when you're having conversations with others, when you're going about your day, when you're at that holiday party, at your family's house, all of that energy is no longer sitting in your space. You're not running from other people's energy. By running, I mean like acting on, living with, absorbing other people's energy. So you're able to have this energetic barrier between you and another. And what's really nice about that is because you have this energetic barrier, let's say you do end up in an awkward conversation or a tough conversation where you're like, oh gosh, it's coming. I gotta speak on this. Instead of you receiving any anger or confusion or however the other person might be feeling, therefore activating you, it just goes into the rose. It actually neutralizes and calms the conversations that you have. The other person responds to you differently. I've seen it so many times. It's so wild to watch. I remember this one time. I was needing to have a really hard conversation with an old roommate, and I had grounded myself beforehand. I did a mock-up, which is just another tool in intuitive healing that we use to manifest of how we want a certain scenario to go. I did this whole mock-up of them just, even if they didn't agree with what I had to say, they understood where I was coming from. That was all I wanted. Right? So I grounded, I did my mock-up, I put up my protection rose. I was so terrified to have this conversation. So the day comes and I'm sitting in my space. We sit down and I tell them how I feel. And I was so scared of how they were going to react because I am not typically a very confrontational person. I really do want things to just work out for everyone and tend to end up hurting myself in the meantime. And so this was a really big step for me at the time, right? So I was so nervous, I was so scared, but I knew I had to do it. I was physically making myself ill. It was so bad. I was like holding in so much within myself that I had to get it out. And so when I finally sat down with them, told them how I was feeling, they looked at me and they were just like, okay, I get it. I understand. And that was it. There was no like yelling or fighting or crazy tantrums. It was such a calm conversation and response. I was dumbstruck. And mind you, I've been doing this work for almost 10 years now, right? I'm still always surprised by this stuff and how simple these tools are and how powerful they can impact and show up within our lives when we actually use them when we need them. And it was just such a perfect example of showing when we take the time to prioritize ourselves and to make sure that we're in a good space, everything else has to respond to that, right? All the energy around us, it responds to that space, to the energy that we're giving. And so ultimately, I think when it comes to stepping into this holiday season, no matter who you have to interact with or speak with or talk to, or even when you're with yourself, there's going to be a need and a time and a necessity to set your space up for success. So this is those moments where we use the tools that we are given, the ones that I am giving you. We ground ourselves, we clear our space, we put up our protection rose, we protect our energy, right? We replenish our energy and our space so we can show up fully without taking on everyone else's energy. It's the number one thing that you can do. And when you start to incorporate this practice into your day-to-day life, you're going to see a difference. I know it because I see it in my clients all the time. So that is my gift to you for this season moving forward, is this protection rose. I would love to hear and see in the comments how that works for you and how it shows up for you and how maybe your conversations are even different and more neutral and more grounded because of it. And I actually just thought of another example. So I'm currently in the higher self realm with the women in my program Elixir. And basically I walk them through 8 weeks of reconnecting with their intuition, with building a relationship with their higher self and building up their confidence and opening up their relationship to abundance. And it's a beautiful arc that we move through, and every week just kind of builds on top of the other. And it's been so cool to see how really tough conversations have had to come up with like friends in their life. And they're like, I said the thing. I set the boundary. I expressed what I needed and it was fine. And it's just been so cool to see them from week 1 to where we're at now. But anyways, I digress. I was telling one of the women about the protection rose to use in a conversation that they're going to have pretty soon. And I think that when we have tools to help support us through challenging times like this, it can make such a difference. And we all are intuitive, right? We all have access to our intuition. It's just learning how to use your intuition intentionally, and we're building a muscle. So it does take practice, but if you consistently choose to show up for yourself and for this work, it will change your life. And so with that being said, our guest next week, I want to tell you so bad, but it's a surprise. We had such a deep conversation about unity and coming together and the division that's happening out in the world right now and what we can do as individuals as well as a collective to start to unify and to allow each of us to use our voices to be heard in a way that's actually supportive for one another and for the world at large. So it's a really huge conversation and I hope you really listen to it. And in the meantime, as I'll be taking a pause for the next few weeks, I do have some offerings off the pod that I would love to have you at. Moving forward, every Sunday, I invite you to join me in the Hearth. The Hearth is my free online circle. We meet on Zoom every Sunday at 4:30 p.m. Pacific Standard Time, and I'm providing intuitive guidance for your week ahead. So when you come in, I tune into the energies of our circle. I break down all of the things that I'm seeing for your week ahead and provide intuitive guidance. I pull oracle cards for what's best going to support you and just to give any type of advice or insights that come up for you as well. So we do take some time to connect with one another. I really just wanted to have a space of community that's trust-based and just really honors giving ourselves even just 30 minutes to set ourselves up for the following week. Like it can be such a game changer when you just take that little window of time to come back to yourself and to be in community. Those will not be recorded. I want it to just be present, raw, real, so you can share and express what's coming up for you in a safe space. So I hope to see you inside the Hearth every Sunday. And lastly, if you're ready to really dig deep into what's getting in the way of your personal growth, if you're feeling really stuck or stagnant in your life, in your work, in your relationship, my one-to-one sessions are open for the month of November. I do accept up to 5 clients a week. Once those are booked, it'll just open up to the next week for whatever is available. So I would love to work with you in that capacity and to really dig deep into what's coming up for you, clearing it out and making room for what you actually deserve. So I'm sending you so much love right now. I hope this holiday season is filled with ease and love and compassion. And if you're navigating something hard, you know where to find me. I'll put my contact information in the show notes, and I can't wait for you to see the last episode or listen to the last episode of Life.ing next week. Until next time, loves, protect your energy, ground your space, and I can't wait to catch you in the next episode.